Because until that question is answered, that part of your mind is going to be looking for it everywhere. Good morning, my name is Jennifer DeVoe. I am a certified life coach, hypnotherapist, and host of the Tune Into You meditation podcast. And I want to share with you the one thing that you can start doing tonight that will change everything. And I want to start by sharing a little bit of a story. So I have a client who tried this out. I've asked a couple of my clients to start playing with this since I heard of this tool, this technique, and the results have just been ridiculous. So I want to share with you a little bit about that. So I have a client who started asking himself questions as he was falling asleep. And one of the questions that he asked himself was, man, I would really love to get a photo of the sunrise. What would it take for me to just get up in time to get a really beautiful photo of the sunrise? And he was just thinking about how beautiful it would be and how great it would be to just get a photo of the sunrise. And he even thought to himself, I'm not going to get up that early. But as he was asking this question, while he was falling asleep, some part of him was listening. And so just as the sun was about to come up over the ridge from his balcony, he woke up and he was like, oh, it looks like it's about to be sunrise. And he grabbed his camera and he went to the window and bam, he got that photo. And you know what? He's been doing that every single morning since that day. And I've personally experienced this. And this is also how we learn to lucid dream. We repeat that mantra to ourselves as we're falling asleep. Tonight I will be fully conscious during my dreams, or, something similar, right? Tonight I will lucid dream. Tonight I'll be totally conscious of my dreams. And I've seen that work for people, absolutely. And there's something really extra special about asking a question. And what happens when we ask a question is that it's like an open loop, right? Your mind can't rest until you find that answer. It's like the cliffhanger in the TV show, Your mind keeps thinking about that show until you go back and whatever that open loop was is resolved. I've used this myself to wake up without an alarm. If you can actually speak to your subconscious mind as you're falling asleep. That, as you're falling asleep, is when you actually naturally enter the state of hypnosis where your subconscious is open and you can have a direct communication and a conversation with those parts of your mind that control your emotional behavior, your motivation, your limiting beliefs, your entire belief structure, the points of view that create your life and your reality are held in these deeper, more subconscious parts of your mind that you can access at the end of the day, lying in bed, and also anytime you ask a question. Because until that question is answered, that part of your mind is going to be looking for it everywhere. And so the key here is to ask a question and not figure out an answer right in that moment, because the moment you find an answer, you stop searching, you collapse the possibilities. But when you leave it open, your subconscious starts to find things. So I'm going to illustrate this with another story. Same client. This client, I asked him, as he was falling asleep, to ask himself, what are my areas of growth? What would it take to get to my next level? And as he's asking himself this question, and this person has big dreams. This person has big dreams and they are going after these dreams. And I would describe this person as a positive, confident force of nature. And he's asking himself as he's falling asleep, what are my areas of growth? And you know what happened? He started to see something. And he didn't just start to see it, he started to see it everywhere. Like when you buy that new car and suddenly it's everywhere. And what he started to see was he started to see different points in his life where he's gotten that feedback that he slips into this pessimistic place. He slips into this victim mentality, and it drags the people around him down. And he's had people say this to him over and over again. And it's funny because there are so many experiences in our lives, but our minds really only focus on a few. And he didn't see this pattern before, not in this way. All the evidence was there, but he didn't see it until he asked this question. And then he started to see it everywhere. He started to see it showing up every single day. Like, oh, people are responding to me and saying like, man, that, you just need to be more positive. And he's getting this feedback and he's realizing, oh, wow, this pattern has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And he starts looking at it even deeper and sees, oh, this actually comes from my parents and my childhood and my mother always looking for what the unfairness in the world and complaining, and my father, getting laid off and then sitting at home and complaining about it for 20 years. And it's just programmed in, and it's so natural, it's so normal. It just feels like I'm being honest when I'm expressing a problem or a situation in my life, and I'm just pouring all this negativity into it like I have no power. Like I'm a total victim and there's nothing I can do. And he saw it so clearly. And we live in a society that is rich with victim mentality. It's just kind of encouraged and inherent in so much of our culture around the world. And the ability to see something like that. See, one of my favorite quotes is, the only thing you cannot change is the thing you're not willing to look at. And so by asking this question, by allowing his mind to show him, he was able to say, oh, this isn't working. This isn't serving me. I don't want to do this anymore. And he made a shift. And he began changing how he was relating, speaking not from the victim, but from the victor, coming at any situation as if he has the power to decide the outcome. And he started talking about this situation he has where some movers want to charge him more and they're holding his stuff and it's complicated. And he started looking at it, you know what? One day I'm going to laugh about this and it's all going to work out. And I'm going to think how funny my first days in this new apartment were, how interesting, how unique. And he's deciding, he's choosing how that story is going to play out, because he's the victor, not the victim. And that shift in mindset that can permeate every area of his life and really take him where he wants to go would not be possible if he had not first asked the question and then been open to receive whatever came up. So, as you're falling asleep, that's the magic time to reprogram your mind for success, to reprogram your mind for any change that you want to see, to ask the question that's going to lead to the future outcome that you desire. Now, I've asked a couple of my clients to use this tool, and one of the things that I noticed that some of us run into is we ask the same questions we've always been asking, and we continue to get the same results we've always been getting. And so if you're asking, why am I so stupid? Or, why can't I be better? You're going to keep getting the same answers. You're going to keep validating the same insecurities, the same pitfalls over and over again. And the idea with asking a question as you fall asleep is to open your mind to possibilities that you didn't have access to before. And so when you're choosing your question, I encourage you to choose a question that starts with, what would it take? And then insert what you want to happen. Insert what you want to see. What would it take for me to get to the next level? What would it take for me to have that amazing partner? What would it take for me to land that dream job? What would it take for my business to just explode? And remember, don't look for the answer, because the moment you find an answer and you're like, everything, all the possibilities collapse. While your subconscious mind, when you leave it open, can work on this all night. And you may have some brilliant epiphany, some idea just pop into your mind at the perfect time that you couldn't anticipate, that you could not expect. So this is my little tool for you today, and this has the power to change your life. And so I encourage you to try this, play with this. And if you're skeptical, if you don't quite believe, if you don't get it, try it. What's the harm? What could it possibly harm to ask yourself a question as you're falling asleep at night? The worst that could happen is nothing at all. So that's my message for you. Now, I know that I usually do a meditation with you guys at this time, so I would love to do a little meditation, and maybe this will help you to uncover what that question might be for you, what it is that you'd really love your subconscious to work on for you. Maybe something that's been on your mind for a long time, something that's been like a sticking point that you just haven't been able to get past. So, as I said that, did something come to mind? All right, if you want to do a little meditation, I'm going to keep it short today. Go ahead and get comfortable and just find a position where you can just comfortably close your eyes and just kind of relax and let your muscles just rest for a moment. Just resting the mind is so incredibly nurturing and soothing. Just allowing the mind to be open, receptive for a few moments. And let's just breathe. Just noticing your breath. It feels so good to be alive, to be breathing, to be able to sense and think and touch, taste, and move. Even just moving your lungs as you breathe deeply. Letting the air coming in just nurture and soothe your insides. Breathe out any tension, any stress, any worry. Just blow it away. As you breathe in, imagine that breath just drifting deeply into the core of your being, filling up your heart, your belly, your arms and legs, filling up with this soothing, healing, nurturing air. Blowing out any stress, any tension, any worry. Letting it go. I'd like you to imagine that you're just lying in bed at the end of a long day. And let's have it be a very busy, exciting day. Like those days when you were a kid where you spent the whole day in the sun, and by the end of the day you just collapsed. You just fell onto your bed, and it just felt so good to just lie there. And slowly drift off. And as you're beginning to drift into that kind of zoned out space, not really asleep and not really awake, I'd like you to think about what you desire more than anything. Maybe it is to find the love of your life. Maybe it is to be finally fit and healthy and feel like you can trust your body. Maybe it is to find your passion, your purpose in the world and bring it. Whatever that desire is, that desire that pulls you, where it feels like you're just being pulled towards something and you couldn't not desire this thing even if you wanted to. Even if you were told that it was wrong to have this desire, that it was you just looking outside of yourself. And even if you tried to let it go, something about it would just pull you. As if some spark of spirit, some inspiration within you was calling you to this desire. And I want you to ask a question. And maybe that question is, what would it take? What would it take to reach out and touch this future possibility? And allow that question to form in your own mind. And feel it, really feel the energy that arises as you ask the question. And you might even ask it over and over, just repeating it like a little mantra in your mind. As you're slowly drifting deeper and deeper, at some point you'll forget to keep thinking about it and you'll just drift to sleep. And over the next few days or weeks, notice any new awarenesses, possibilities, inspirations that match that energy, that feeling you get when you ask this question. And follow that. Follow that. In your mind's eye, you might imagine yourself following that energy now. Just imagine what that might feel like, the inspiration, the lightness, the joy, the yumminess, the And then come back to the room, back to your breath. Let's take a final deep breath together. Take a big breath in. Fill yourself up with that healing breath. And let it all go. Just let it all go. Nothing to think about. Nothing to do. Just let yourself be. And opening your eyes, and thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for going in this little guided journey with me. So much love, so much honor, so much respect to you. Namaste.